Alrighty. I just gotta mute it right away because I have it pulled up in case somebody comments.
Yeah, I got to do that too. All right, so we're live. We're here with Kurt Hohberger. I think that's how you say it.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a really cool thing about Kurt that I just learned that I didn't know, and I'm going to introduce Kurt as he is the man behind BMX Union. If you've ever seen it, he runs it. He does everything for BMX Union, and I also did not know that he has in the past worked for Dig, the Come Up, and Ride. I did know about Ride, but I didn't know about the Come Up and Dig. So he's worked for everyone except for Vital. Um, Started BMX Union in 2007,
Mhm.
and since we're talking about 2007 and we wanted to talk about the evolution of BMX Media, I'll let you kind of get into that. Maybe start with starting BMX Union and then work into it.
Yep. So I originally started, so I used to have like a local scene website. So like when Midwest BMX was big and San Diego BMX was big, I
Yeah.
had my own little like scene thing, and then people kind of started falling off and like it just kind of whatever. And I was in school and I was in college and I had like a semester long project on just like how blogging reaches people, like mass amounts of people. So I started that and I just started interviewing pros. Like I just hit them up.
Yeah.
Didn't know them, never. That was at the time where I really didn't know anybody. And I just
Mm-hmm.
started kind of interviewing a bunch of people and then it just kind of kept going from there. So,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah.
I had never actually asked you about that, so
I
that's cool.
feel like I've said that before in like other interviews I've done, but yeah, it's, I don't know, kind of a long road.
Right. So the whole point of the conversation is BMX media, and I feel like to get into BMX media and where it's at today, we should talk about where it's been and how it got here.
Mhm.
So, do you need any more specifics than that to talk about?
I mean, it's. I think everybody kind of knows. I mean, back in the day, there was magazines, and
Yeah.
then once the internet started kind of catching on more and becoming a little easier to use, everybody started kind of adopting websites, and that's when you had like BMX Online, which was like Ride BMX's original website, and then it websites got easier to use, easier to make a website. Anybody can do it now. Facebook kind of took off. There was MySpace, but that was never like a platform I don't think a lot of brands used. At least I don't remember it. Facebook kind of took off, and then Instagram blew up, and then YouTube, just in the last couple of years, especially, has really like taken off and became its own kind of social media platform
Mm-hmm.
that every brand has a YouTube now. And you kind of look back and it's like, all right, so when I started doing videos and stuff on my original website, like my scene website, we had to like upload the file. You basically had to download the video to watch it on your computer. So
Yeah.
get a hyperlink, download it, watch it after like an hour of downloading or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so then as things progressed, it's gotten easier and easier. And I mean, now we're doing live streams, and you think about trying to do that 10 years ago, and
Yeah. Like
it's like chaos.
we're
So
literally talking to each other, and in the stream,
exactly,
it
yeah,
looks like we're together.
yeah.
Um, but what did BMX media look like 12 years ago? Like, what were the kinds of things like, what did a post look like, or what was the daily?
It was. I mean, the video quality was a lot worse.
Yeah,
I
of
mean, you think
course.
about that, like, so like when I was posting for like the come up, that was 10 years ago now. I think probably right around there, because it was shortly after my site started going, and yeah, the video quality was terrible. I remember like the first 1080p videos came out, and it was like Odyssey's Electronical,
Yeah.
and then I think Mutiny did it with Joe Simon did it. He
Oh,
did
yeah.
like a high def online video.
Yep.
And that was kind of right when 1080p started taking off. Or it was probably 720 at that time. But yeah, the video quality was garbage. And then you kind of watch now and you're like, why are there so many VX videos still?
But was it like the same format? Was it like you just post the video, post words about the video, or was it different at all?
It was a lot more different because there was a lot more commenting going on, a lot more anonymous trash talking.
Yeah.
It was a whole different level now. Like nowadays, I'll post stuff and I'll maybe get like a couple Facebook shares or whatever, but you don't get a whole lot of comments,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing because quite honestly, like it gets a little crazy. Like I've gotten death threats like
For real?
on stuff like on posts like
That's
it's
crazy.
it's kind of insane, yeah. So back in the day was a lot crazier.
I remember anonymous comments.
Yeah, it was definitely a whole different ball game then. But like, yeah, it's evolved, and it's just because there's so many different places. Like obviously, like Instagram and Facebook. I mean, most people nowadays are on Instagram, especially people are writing, and it's a lot easier to just comment on a quick 30-second video clip than it is to go to a website, like log into the account or whatever, make it so you can actually post something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So I feel like for the most part though, it's been pretty much you write words about a video, you post
Just
the
broke my
you,
pen.
oops, you post the video with your words, and that's BMX Media. Other than like maybe write ups and other things, but it hasn't really changed a lot, has it?
Not a ton. I mean, it's gotten easier to do stuff.
Yeah,
When I worked for Dig, their website at the time wasn't like necessarily blog friendly, I guess you could say at that time. And it took like 15 minutes to 20 minutes for me to post something on their website for
yeah,
like one thing. And if you think that pace, you're trying to post 10, 15 things a day, it's like that adds up real fast.
yeah, no doubt.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can easily,
Um,
and that's yeah. Um,
yeah.
so it's just gotten easier, basically.
A lot easier, yeah. And I mean, anybody, like I said, anybody can do it now. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
So,
So then, what about the? Let's see. Let's talk. So I've got the next thing in my notes is the Facebook apocalypse and
mhm,
how it affected BMX media. So was there kind of a transition from like strictly internet based, like website based
mhm.
content to Facebook based content? Is that how
Yeah.
that kind of worked?
Yeah. So, like, if you look back, like, it was magazines, and then websites started popping up. And then, along with websites, like, Facebook was really starting to pick up. And that was a huge traffic generator for me, like, for a long time because you get a couple 100,000 fans on Facebook at that time, and you'd post a link, and there wasn't that algorithm to prevent you from seeing it because it linked to an external source.
Yeah.
So now, like, you post a link, they limit it super far to like, I have 520,000 fans on Facebook, or
Hmm.
the website does, not me. And just to be clear,
Anyway.
and like maybe 1,000 people could see the post.
Yeah.
It's insane. But like in its prime, like 30, 40, 50,000 people would see it, and I would get 20, 30, sometimes 40,000 views on my website in a day.
Which is
That
crazy because that
Yeah,
translates to over 1 million a month.
it was, yeah. At one point we were doing, so I had my site. So like I was doing like an ad package for websites for brands because I wanted to make it easier. So like my site, Can You Dig It, Flat Matters, Bike Guide. Do you remember that forum, Bike Guide?
No.
So I started doing the ads for that, and then there was one other one. There was like a free coaster website this guy started, and then he kind of fell off, and then like slowly I kind of separated from all those, but um, I'm not even sure where
You
I'm
said
trying to go
ad
with this.
package.
Yeah. So it was just kind of that, like the traffic was really crazy. And then after Facebook started limiting that, it brought everything back down, and it made it harder and harder. So now, like before, it used to be Facebook outdid everything on traffic.
Yeah.
Now it's Google, and Facebook does like nothing for me. So
Right.
yeah.
That's an interesting concept, and that
Mm.
affects one of the topics to talk about later is the sponsorship things and the ad packages and whatnot, and that affects the value
Yeah.
that it's possible to bring to somebody.
Mm.
So with that, things probably I think they moved more towards into Instagram naturally.
Yeah. And
And
even so, like YouTube,
yeah,
like guys like you or Scotty Kramer, for example, like he blows everybody out of the water with his views.
right. But
It's just insane.
but before that, I would say the Facebook thing happened. What was that, like 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere around there, probably around 4 years ago
So
now.
Instagram and Facebook were kind of blowing up at the same time. Facebook died, Instagram's left over, and YouTube hasn't
Yeah,
really exactly taken over, but YouTube popped up.
it's yeah, YouTube is definitely blowing up a lot just in the last like 3 years. But you can kind of look back too, like the transition was after Facebook bought Instagram. That's when it kind of started. The algorithm
Oh
stuff
yeah,
really
yeah,
started
yeah,
kicking in
definitely.
like a lot harder. And now it's just like you can share a post on Facebook, you can share stuff on Instagram. It doesn't matter. So
Yeah, and Instagram's starting to do the whole same thing that Facebook did right now too.
mhm.
I just realized that we completely forgot to mention the first BMX, like not first. Actually, we skipped one.
Mhm.
Magazines,
Yep.
props,
Yeah.
then the internet.
Video
Because props
magazines.
was a video magazine, which
Yep.
BMX Media, like it was basically the whole concept of BMX Media now. Like if you take kind of the Our BMX YouTube channel and
Exactly.
mashed it into one disc.
Well, and that's one thing that always kind of blew my mind. Like, I'm pretty sure I've asked Chris this before, but like, I'm surprised not every single video that Props has ever done is on YouTube. It should be. Like, he should just upload it all to YouTube. You'd have endless content. You could do
Yeah,
sections of DVDs for like weeks.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
but
So I think we kind of caught up to speed. So where are we at right now currently with BMX Media? Like what does the playing field look like as far as how it works?
it's changed. I mean, it's changed. Like you said, like it's there's fewer obviously. So like we've seen a lot of media companies come and go.
Hmm.
We've also seen a really big like revival, and this is actually something I'm really happy to see. Is so Dig used to be owned by a publisher,
Yeah,
and they closed down or they were gonna like shut Dig down, and Will bought it, and started it back as his own thing.
yeah,
Ride UK just last year got shut down by their publisher,
yep.
and I think the guys at 70s bought it. I think that's what
Interesting.
it was, if I remember right. And then you look at like Ride getting shut down, and then RBMX starts, and it's all like core guys that run it now,
Yeah, it's
like the media
independent.
side, versus having publishers, which is really big. Like at that time, like Vital's always been a core kind of Brad McDonald started Ride BMX, and then he went and started Vital, but
Hmm.
they're focused on everything like mountain bikes and moto and all this other stuff
Yeah,
too.
there's Vital everything.
Yeah, Vital everything basically. Yeah, so it's I mean you see it's changed, and it's I think in a good way. It's just now the pie has shrank a lot,
Yeah,
and it's smaller, but then there's also a million more outlets. So YouTube, every guy that has a good channel, it's like you look at guys like Billy Perry or Scotty Kramer or whatever. Like these guys have like 200 or like 2 million subscribers or something crazy. Well,
right.
I think Billy's at like a million now, but you look at that and it's just like they don't need media. They have their own stuff going on,
Yeah.
and brands like Cult and Odyssey, they've been pushing that stuff too. So they've grown their stuff out too, that to the point where I get why they don't need a media company to back them anymore. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So that brings up the like there's. So what problems do you think BMX Media faces, like now and in the future, looking into the future?
I mean, it's just more of a how do you evolve with the way things have changed.
Yeah.
Magazines started going away, and everybody kind of transitioned to websites, and some a little more graceful than others. The biggest reason I left Dig was because they didn't want to make changes there. They couldn't make changes to their website because their publisher didn't want to. They wanted to
Gotcha.
focus on the magazine, and it's kind of one of those things like you just got to evolve with the times and kind of keep up with what you're trying to do. And like right now, like, RBMX is a clear indicator that YouTube is really the direction that they have to go to make it work.
Yeah. Oh,
If
absolutely.
they were just trying to do the website, they wouldn't be doing okay.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, given that's where they get their ad revenue, a lot of it, but like without the YouTube views and the Instagram, like they would be screwed. So
Right. So what solutions? I know you wanted to talk solutions, so I'm assuming that means you have one or
yeah,
a
I mean,
few.
there's things I've talked about, like like there are good ways to do website content, and it's the product stuff, it's branded, interviews and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get why brands still want to do banner ads and stuff, and it does help, it does work. It's just not as effective as it used to be because so many more people are living on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and they don't actually need to go to the website anymore.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to look at it from that perspective. And then, so banner ads don't hold as much value as they used to. And for a long time, that was all I did. And then I actually cut every banner ad off the site because I was getting so burned out on like trying to beg brands to like give money to do ads and do content and stuff. And it
Yeah.
just didn't make sense. And then I started looking into, this was like 2 or 3 years ago, doing affiliate sales.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays affiliate stuff is way more common. You click a link, and if you buy something, the person that sent you there gets a commission.
Yep.
And I tried to pitch that to everybody, and they're like, like I don't know, it's not really right, like we've never really done it before. And nobody at the time was really doing it, but now a lot of people are starting to do it. Vans does it. Shadow and Sabrosa do it. I have a couple that I work with. Amazon is a big thing, given people don't like Amazon, and I think that's changed a lot too.
Hey, I just got a $30 affiliate from someone buying a camera, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. And I mean, my biggest thing with Amazon is like brands could do a lot with it, but at the same time, I think shops should be the ones that are using it. They could utilize it. And you know, there's that option, and it just kind of, that's the whole thing. So I was pushing these affiliate sales and nobody could really do it. And now everybody's, using these websites to see what Tanner.
I wondered if you were watching that.
Sorry.
Anyways,
Now everybody has these websites that are made on, these pre-done things. I'm blanking on like all these different
Wix,
websites. Yeah.
Squarespace.
Yeah, stuff like that, and they all have affiliate options, so it's easy
Yeah.
for a brand to just flip it on and
Oh,
do
I
it
see
now.
what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for them to kind of go that route, and I think brands are more open to that because if they're paying a media company, for example, me, it's because I made a sale. So
Right.
so
And go ahead.
it gives me incentive to promote the brand, promote the product if I have the opportunity to get something out of it in return.
Right. And not only does it help you, it gives an incentive for the riders because then
Yeah,
just the fact that that affiliate thing exists means that they can give the exact same thing to the rider as they do to
yeah,
you. And the more sales that get generated, the better it is for everyone.
yeah, and that was the thing too. Like I think brands are still starting to figure it out, but I know I kind of pitched it to Etnies when they kind of got their affiliate program going, and like that was when like Povo was still there.
Mm-hmm.
And some of they did some signature shoes, and they just did some like promotion stuff, but they did bonuses based on affiliate sales.
Yeah.
I know from one of the promotions they did that one of the pros sold over 200 pairs of shoes in a weekend.
Jesus, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So like it works if it's done right.
Right.
And for, I can't remember like whatever happened, but there was a big shakeup at Etnies anyways. But like um, it showed that it works.
That and like in thinking about this too, it's a good way to like how do you quantify how well a pro is doing for their company or how well a BMX media company is doing for the company that sponsors them? You
and
could
that's
do
the
it with
thing.
affiliate marketing, and that is a way to rank. So like, oh, this guy sold this much, okay, we should be helping him out this much more so he can get to this many more people, and
Yeah.
actually have like objectives for
Yeah.
professional BMX riders.
And that's the tricky part too, though, is because some guys are going to be better at doing that stuff than other people, and that doesn't necessarily translate to, let's just say for me to do affiliate sales, I don't care how much money I make in a month from the website. I work other jobs.
Yeah.
I've got other stuff going on, so I'm not like, oh no, if I don't have enough money, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But like when you have, let's say RBMX where they got guys on staff, they got plane tickets to pay for, hotels, all this stuff that they got to
Mm-hmm.
cover. Like it's not always a good opportunity, like an option for them.
Yeah.
But so it varies. I mean, if they hit it right, they could do it and make good money. You can make good money off affiliate sales, but you have to do it right. And you have to have that traffic.
Yeah, I
And
guess it's the argument that it can all exist.
yeah,
It
and
doesn't
and
have to
that's
just be affiliate. It doesn't just have to be a company sponsoring banner ads or sponsoring posts on websites. And another random thought that I had too for BMX Media and just the fact that they're doing YouTube and stuff could be like if you've ever watched, it's a random one, but Linus Tech Tips on YouTube.
yeah,
Every single video he has at the beginning, at the end, this video is sponsored by, and
yeah,
then, okay, what if BMX did that and they said, this video is sponsored by Shadow. Check out their
yeah.
new OBB featherweight signature helmet at the link in the description below. Boom, here's your video.
Yeah, and stuff like that's been done. I mean, you think about it, like pre-roll ads for Vital does it.
Yeah,
I know they've done it. I used to do it when I did like Vimeo videos. So I
yeah.
started a YouTube channel for the website in like 2012 or something like that. Didn't use it. Started putting all my stuff on Vimeo.
Oops.
Figured out how to do. We got like a custom coded video player so I could do pre-roll ads.
Yeah,
So I was selling pre-roll ads, which it helped, but I was also paying people like $100 for every edit that was submitted.
yeah,
And then, at a certain point, you're kind of going, okay, like I can't keep paying $100 for these videos that are getting, 600 views.
right. Right. So that's why I think YouTube almost facilitates that better because
Yeah,
then
and
it just,
that's one thing I think we're gonna see with YouTube is eventually they're gonna make it so that you could make your own ad deals.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, actually, you can already kind of do that. It's just
can
not anyone can do that. So, like, if you're working with a brand or you specifically work with a brand with your channel, they
Yeah.
can pay or they can like specifically buy out ads on your videos
Okay,
so
so they
that
did start
their
doing that.
ads, and they can do that video specifically as well. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. Don't quote me on this,
Yeah, and,
but
and
I'm
that's
pretty
something
sure.
that I've thought they should be doing for years now. I mean, you think about it, like guys like Scotty Kramer, where like Monster. If Monster did
Yeah,
like a pre-roll ad, they could quantitate like, okay, we paid this much for the ads. He got like 200,000 views on this video. It's kind of
yep,
one of those things. So it's something that I think is going to be kind of the future is the way like video advertising is going to go, at least I hope.
yeah,
Affiliate sales, that is something that could be definitely done more. Like I said, banner ads still have value, but
mm-hmm.
it's just kind of all right, how do we balance this with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then try to get people over to the website too. So
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good potential things to think about that could
mhm.
help with things. I think the whole pre-roll, even like within the video, someone actually says it,
Yeah,
or Shadow makes their own pre-roll video clip that you put in your file before your video starts,
yeah,
and boom, because they do that with podcasts.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Space Brothers, like they've got people saying something before the video. Obviously, it's a much longer format, but I feel like that might be where things go towards.
yeah.
Um,
And like even like Dennis was doing it on his podcast too, Dennis Henderson.
yeah, yep,
And like and the podcast thing that's an easy one where you can just kind of because you're already having a conversation with it. Where
yep,
like a video, it's a little trickier, especially if it's just like an edit. Like do you want to try to put this in before the edit? And kind of everybody's like, okay.
Yeah.
But there's certain like types of content that can work better than others with that sort of thing, obviously.
Right. I guess, I don't know. I guess we'll find out because the views dictate the value. And if the
Yeah.
value's there, even if it's an edit, I mean, if I was running a site, I wouldn't be opposed to putting something before that. If it's
Yeah.
if it's something that I'm not like, that someone else is already paying for.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And that's that. I mean, not to like rag on anybody. Like it's the like I get why the media guys need to like dig and RBMX like they have submitted videos. You had a submitted video,
yeah.
but like I've also seen it where somebody will like share an edit on their channel, and then like a week later it appears on one of their channels or both of those channels. I think I've seen it once where like both showed up on theirs.
What do you mean? Who's
Like
theirs?
where let's say like for example like a brand puts out a video and they give it to dig and
Oh,
rbmx,
yeah.
so there's three versions of it on YouTube,
Yep.
all that were released at the same time. So like for me where I'm following all these channels, I just see three in a row and I'm like, okay, I'm obviously going to post the brand's video, but it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I feel like more structure
Yeah.
in actually how things are kind of doing it would help a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
so I kind of think
I just saw Ricky's comment, and
yeah,
he's like, pros are now influencers, and I mean
they were always
that they
influencers.
always were. It's just
That's the
it's
thing.
different now. You have to try a lot harder to be an influencer.
Yeah, and just the fact that like you have to try more. Before you just it was how it was.
Mhm.
You were just yourself, and that was being an influencer. Now, like, because there's so much competition and so many different
Yeah.
people, you have to actually like put effort into saying like blah 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 company this.
Yeah, and I mean, me and you talked about this like a week ago or something about how so many riders ride the same that it's kind of hard to differentiate nowadays.
Yep.
And you get a ton of kids. Like I see it a lot where people are like, "Will you sponsor me?" And it's like, well, I watched your stuff, and you do all the same stuff as like 10 other guys, and it's just like,
And they're just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
yeah,
That's what everyone else is getting sponsored for.
yeah, yeah. That kind of is tricky thing too, and media, I get it too. Like on our side, like we have to post, especially me, where I post everything, but
Yeah.
like there are sometimes I see something, I'm just like, okay, this is the same thing I've seen 30 times today. I'm just done. Like I
Right.
can't
Well,
keep posting the same stuff over and over again.
absolutely. And
So
you do a good job of having variety.
yeah.
You're
Well,
not posting exactly the same thing. Before we get out of the whole sponsored conversation, I
mhm,
feel like it's we should have talked about it first, but I feel like it's helpful to go through the history of sponsorship in BMX media because that is something a lot of people probably don't know about, and it was
mhm,
crazy for a little bit.
yeah.
Uh,
And that's another thing too. I mean, you can it starts to go back to the magazines, and it's full page ads and content based around riders that are sponsored by the advertisers.
yep.
Content that's based around trips from the teams, like that's always been there.
Yep. And those
It's
things probably costed more money
oh
because
yeah,
the value we have to think about in all of what we're about to say, the
yeah,
value that the media company, magazine company, whatever, brought to the company
yeah,
was a lot higher.
yeah. And there was a whole lot less competition. I mean, you think
Yeah.
about it, like props or dig or ride, when those magazines were all like really popular,
Yeah.
there wasn't the million other distractions. You weren't going on YouTube and clicking subscriptions and there's 20 new videos to check out.
Yep.
So obviously that made more sense to have that money funneling into these sources, because then it was their job to put it all together and make it work, and give everybody a chance to have one place to find this stuff.
Right.
And then the websites started popping up, and you look at you know Okay, so now there's more opportunity because there's the magazines and there's the websites. So now you're trying to spend your budget between those two things as a brand. A
Yeah.
lot of it was, okay, Ride has their website, Ride has their magazine, Dig has their website, Dig has their magazine. So they started doing that stuff too. And then obviously let's just kind of keep fast forwarding. Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff starts taking over. Now a lot of brands they have social media managers, they have in-house photographers or filmers, or at least guys that they go to every time. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can name, okay, let's say like Peter Adam, who does he film for?
Yeah.
You can
Federal.
you can just kind of you can just kind of go through and just go, okay, I know these guys do that, and
Yeah.
so now it's less reliant. So brands are more not necessarily less reliant on media, but they almost have to produce their own content just because if they're not putting out new content every day, especially on like Instagram, where if you stop posting for a few days, your reach drops dramatically.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things where you got to be producing your own content, and you can't expect 1, 2, 3 guys to be able to keep up with the whole industry.
Right,
So,
exactly. And that's kind of one of the things Trey was talking about. They didn't post whatever in this weekend, and
mhm.
and then Fudger talked about it too. Like they messed up that weekend, and
Yeah,
it's a lot of work to keep up with everything.
and that's one reason like I've fallen back on like trying to keep up with like doing original content
Yeah.
is because there's so much other content that I'm just trying to promote that stuff because
Right. The return on that original content is just not there.
it's not as valuable. I mean, there's obviously certain things like if you do a video that's really good and it gets 1 million views, yeah, that makes sense. But
the chances of that happening
especially with the amount of competition right now is insane. So it's kind of like you're gonna sit there and you're gonna try and make all this content on your own, and then in 2 days it's on to something else anyways. So
it's a hustle and it's a grind, and that's why sometimes things get missed.
oh yeah,
And by the time you miss it,
so easy.
A week later, it's too late. Like it's not even worth posting at that point.
And that was the one thing I learned, especially like in my time when I was doing like the come up stuff, is like if you're not first, you're last.
Yep.
Ricky Bobby style for sure. Like
100%.
if you were the first one to post a video and got the link out, you would get all the traffic. But now it's like there's 30 different ways to do it.
Right.
So now everybody finds their stuff different ways, and it just kind of is so divided that it's just hard to get everybody to go one place.
Right. Right. And there was a point in time where I've heard that the come up was getting big money for advertising.
Yeah.
Crazy dollars for just being.
I've heard that too, and I never saw that end of it, and that's I just it didn't fit with what I wanted to do, and that's why I kind of went off and did my own thing.
Right, and that
given I was already doing my own thing before that, but yeah.
What a perfect transition into talking about BMX Union and kind of your why you do things the way you do. What specifically the goals are and kind of the vision for the site.
To be honest, like it's changed a little bit over the years. Originally it was just interviews that I was doing with people, and it was, I just kind of wanted to highlight a lot of guys that, were coming up and they weren't necessarily known yet. There was a lot of guys that I interviewed that ended up going pro, 2 years later, and it was just kind of interesting. But there was also a lot of guys I interviewed and then they just disappeared.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of those things. I think at one point I did like over 250 or something interviews with people.
Jeez.
And it just kind of gets really repetitive because at that point it's just, now you just got to feed the machine. So you're just trying to just produce content and it gets stale. But, I'm guilty of that, where it's just you start repeating the same questions and you start asking, give the same responses, and it's just not as entertaining. And then obviously between that, I was kind of juggling that while I was working at Dig. Left Dig, started basically posting anything on my site because I was kind of over that whole, you can only post. This was when the magazine had, the the publisher was telling us what we could do.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, yeah, if it's not an advertiser, you can't post it. And I was like, okay, well, I get that, but at the same time, it's changed. Like they're like RBMX, they post other people's stuff. If it's not an advertiser, Dig does it too. Everybody
Yeah.
does it, but especially for me, it's just I've never wanted to be held down by advertisers. So at one point, I did have a lot of advertisers, and then I felt like I owed everybody everything, and I never felt like I was actually giving them the value.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I got rid of all the advertising for a while there. And, it's just post everything. For me, that's the way it's been, is post everything, promote the guys that you don't necessarily get they don't necessarily get that shine time.
Yeah.
Or they're just starting out and they don't know how to get their name out.
Yeah.
Like Ricky, I know I've probably mentioned him 5 times already, but like I've always posted his stuff just because he's one of those guys that you can't compare his riding to anybody else.
Right.
And that's one thing I really like, is being able to push, like post a video or something that's different, that's going to get people stoked, because it's just something they don't see all the time.
Right. So, I feel like
I think that's kind of the direction I've taken it, and it's less about the original content for me now, and it's more about just posting all the good stuff that I see. If I like it, I mean, it's rare that I don't see something that isn't worth posting in some way. Like if somebody submits a video, I'm gonna post it.
Yeah.
But like if I come across a video and it's crap filming and it's the writing isn't that great, yeah, I'm gonna pass on it.
Naturally, there's a bar.
Like, yeah, there is.
You've got to be at a certain standard. I remember a time where it was like really hard to get videos posted, like in certain places. The come up was super, like their standards for posting something. Maybe it was because of sponsorship stuff and only posting things. I don't know, but I just remember where it was really hard. And the same with Ride. It was like your video had to be top notch to make it onto websites.
And that was kind of what spurred the, let's give the guy that you've never heard of a chance to get his name out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a big thing for me. And like, I think a lot of people did see that, and that was probably what drew a lot of people to come, check out the stuff that they weren't seeing anywhere else on my site.
Yeah.
But given, it's not always the best thing to do that. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be somebody that does that, and that's where the separation between BMX Media / BMX production companies and BMX News comes into play.
Yeah, and and like I said, like my site wouldn't be able to exist without the other guys either, because those guys are producing a shit ton of content.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Insane. Like I don't know how they keep up with all that stuff. So it's
it's pretty nuts. And so with that, obviously you do have sponsors, and non-sponsor stuff. How do you handle because you post everything?
Yep.
I know I've noticed a few things, like if you're working with a company, I've seen like you'll post something that's like older again.
Yeah.
So like kink complete stuff. Like you'll post like the kink 2020 whatever Williams complete a second time, and then like
and like Facebook and stuff. Yeah.
So like how do you handle
basically
that?
Like my process is, when I start the day, like every day I start the day and I come to my computer and I basically go through all my feeds and all my stuff, and I pull up all the videos that I want to post, or any of the news, any of the content, and I just kind of rate it based on like quality and what people want to see. And if there's a video, it's all right or whatever, it's not anything crazy, I'll post that one first, so that as I keep posting it, it moves its way down. But then the top post is going to be the best video or the best content at that point in the day, I guess you should say. Obviously if a brand, so for example, Kink and Cinema support the site. So if Kink has a video, I'm going to post that one last, so it's on top. And then, for 3, 4, 5 hours or whatever it is, if I go off and go to work or go do something else, it's on the top of the site.
Yeah.
And then I also have, I'll promote that stuff a little heavier on Facebook. I'll post stuff on Instagram for them. Um, One thing that I don't think a lot of people know is the site has a way to get push notifications, especially I think it's only on desktop right now, but I have like 9,000 something subscribers on there that can get push notifications. So if it's like a brand, so like Kink, when they posted their video yesterday, I'll send it out to that too.
Yeah. I
So
know you've talked about that with me before, but I didn't realize it was that many people.
yeah, well, and it's weird because at one point I had so this is kind of like computer stuff. If you know websites, Google started pushing the HTTPS. It's like a
Yeah.
secure. Yep. So once that kicked over, I had the HTTP version had like 20 something thousand followers on there on that push notification
Yeah.
thing. And when I switched to the HTTPS, I had to start over.
Yeah.
Then obviously now like it's harder to get people to the website than it was a year ago. So
Right.
yeah.
You should make, because now all websites or whatever that is with the cookies thing,
Mm.
you should make the push notifications part of the cookies thing. So they push OK and then they
It'd be
sign up.
nice, but it would piss a lot of people off, and it would probably break some law in like Europe. I'd get like a fine.
Most
It'd
likely.
be in euros. I wouldn't know how to pay it.
It's funny. Uh, so what else is there? I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we didn't quite hit? I feel like we talked about a lot of things.
um, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of one of those things where it's just like I think we did cover a lot of ground. I'm just trying to look at the comments to see if there was anything.
Everyone's praising Ricky right now.
I know he is the god. I don't know what he was talking about when he said that to me. Like, no,
Let's talk politics. I don't.
no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, I've tried so hard. So like even doing this right now is like you've asked me how many times to come do one of these.
Yeah.
And like I'm super weird about that. Like I try not to make it about me. Like I've always been like make it about the riders, make it about not to say I don't ride, but like just to make it about the people that are, that I'm trying to promote. It's not about me, it's about the content and
Yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, it's so doing stuff like this is just weird for me anyways. So
Yeah, and I just feel like it's pretty relevant as to that whole conversation that's going on. And there's something to be said that Mike Hinkins is doing something that I think more people need to be paying attention to, because he's bringing up questions and conversations that actually matter with this kind of stuff. He's like the whole thing of Trey. Trey said all of that stuff. Maybe it wasn't all 100% factual, but it brought up Fudger into the conversation. And then that inspired me to ask you. So now we have the BMX Union, like not exactly perspective on that whole thing, but just the kind of general like BMX media conversation is being grown bigger because of that one thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stuff that's like we talked about is stuff that like the general public probably doesn't even need to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys all see it, like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. But like the business side of like running a media site, like it's it is what it is. Like
right, but the thing of it is like if we don't talk about it, and the problems are never going to stop existing.
Yeah,
that's kind of why I bring this stuff up, because there have been so many times like I made that one podcast thing talking about older riders, and I feel like it kind of like got people talking, and now things might change for the better for that. So it's like,
and I think I mean that's and that's something that's a little different. But like on the media side, I think it's more or less just the growing pains and the evolution of things, like the transition of how do we keep up with everything, because now you got to do way more work than it used to be, given it's a lot easier to do it. But I think we're going to keep seeing changes on the way things go. Obviously, I think Dig and RBMX are doing really good things with just their YouTube channels, especially. Like that's kind of the direction I see things going.
Yeah, absolutely.
More on that, but
their YouTube, our BMX YouTube channel right now it's like it's turned into exactly kind of what I thought BMX needed whenever I had that. Remember when we had the conversation about doing the submit thing?
Yeah.
And I was like talking about Ride and how they're starting to do that at the time. Then Ride stopped, and then they picked it up with our BMX, and now it's just like it's everything. People from all over the place. The video, like they posted my video, and then a couple days before that, it was Pegless street riding with like the Mad Mike Jam in there as well. And it's like there's so much different stuff in one place, and not all of it is sponsored stuff.
Yeah, and that's super important, and that kind of goes back to like what I always, I'm trying to do is, promote the stuff that people don't normally see.
Yeah.
So like the rider that you've never heard of, like every day there's a video and there's, some kid doing something crazy that I've never heard of. And that's really cool. And because they went on that channel, let's say RBMX, they ended up getting, 8,000 views on a video that if they would have posted themselves, maybe got 200.
Yep, exactly.
So, and that's one thing I always kind of regret is not putting more into YouTube before it all blew up.
Yeah.
Because if I would have started pushing it really hard in like 2012 or 2011 or whatever it was that I set it up at, it would have probably been, I think it's what's Woozy BMX.
Yeah.
He had like 150,000 fans on YouTube before anybody else had anything else going on YouTube. So
yeah,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool, like what you just said about the whole 8,000 views versus 2,200 views thing. It's cool that now you're getting to post some of like probably the same people that you would be posting anyways, but you're posting the video that's on our BMX's YouTube channel with way more views for that person. So overall, I feel like it's just like BMX Media, even though it's not as valuable to companies, I feel like it's more valuable than ever to the riders.
Yeah. And it just like I said before, it's just you got to kind of evolve with it, and it needs to. It's not going to be anything like it used to be.
Yeah.
Like Ryan said in his interview that there's brands that that they haven't worked with them in years, and that's because they put so much time into their own channels. And one thing that I always kind of worried about is you'd see all these brands, especially before Ride went away. Is you saw brands put a lot of everything into, all right, let's just give all our videos to Ride or whatever. And it's not an issue now that they're they're on their own and they're running things by themselves. But when you have a publisher that could pull the plug at any time,
like they did,
yeah, poof, all of that is gone.
That's
and now
pretty
the brand
crazy.
that gave them that has they don't have it on their channel. That stuff could all disappear. Given I'm sure they'll just keep it up,
but it very well could. There's millions of views worth of stuff on the old Ride YouTube channel that could be gone any day they decide to push that button.
And that's one thing that kind of blows my mind, especially like for some of the bigger brands that they could just be building up their own channels and not have to worry about it disappearing someday because they have full control over it.
Yeah.
But if you're giving away your content, not to say like you shouldn't, obviously there's certain scenarios where it makes sense to premiere a video on another channel.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like if you're trying to build this up, you gotta be kind of watching out for yourself too. So
yeah, that's an interesting thought. It's gonna be interesting to see where things go. Where do you see it? Let's say, what's a good time frame? I don't know, a couple years from now.
That's that.
I know
that's
it's really hard.
A super hard thing to think about, just because how much it's changed in like the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like given if I hindsight 2020, if I would have known what it is now, I would have been dumping so much time and energy into YouTube like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time I could have done that, and there could have been something else that took off and everybody took the attention away. Facebook, I think they're going to kind of end up going like the MySpace route. Instagram, like you said, it's starting to go down. I don't know anything about TikTok, but
TikTok's freaking going crazy right
yeah,
now. I
like
didn't
that.
tell anyone about it, but I made a TikTok account a couple months ago. I've been
I
randomly posting on it and stuff. I had a video on there from a jam we had this summer.
yeah,
It blew up and got like over 300,000 views on it, and I
yeah,
almost have 10,000 followers on TikTok. That's like just random people, I think.
yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like if you're not keeping up with that stuff, you don't know what's going on. Like next week, that could be the biggest thing for all the kids that are buying BMX bikes.
Yeah, I
And
think it's
all of a
probably going to
sudden,
be.
every brand that's been putting all their effort into Facebook or Instagram, all of a sudden they have to go, okay, how do we make TikTok work? I saw a few brands start doing Snapchat, but like
Snapchat's dead
that
now.
just doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. That Vero, I played
Uh,
around with it, but it's Instagram. It's the same thing. It has to be something different. That's the
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I personally think TikTok will probably take over Instagram. Like, maybe they'll be competing for a while, but TikTok's in a place right now where they don't have the algorithm that holds people back yet.
And that's the other thing. Like you could see, something like that goes and becomes really big, and then all of a sudden it becomes about money, and then it's the same thing with Facebook. Like before they were, you could post a link and it went everywhere, and now it's like for you share a link and nothing happens because they're so concerned about keeping people on Facebook to view their ads. That's really
Yep.
what they want. And yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll see, I guess. So that kind of didn't really answer the question. I interrupted you about TikTok.
No, no, that's fine. And like I said, like it's hard to see. I think obviously video content is going to be the future. Um, there's obviously, oh God, Montana Ricky said there's a Facebook's making a TikTok killer, but
Ricky, you're a
I think
conspiracy theorist.
I think Facebook tries to do that. These big companies, they'll buy out these little,
Yep.
startups, and then they'll do nothing with them, or they just won't take off, the way
Yeah.
we think they will.
It's
Um,
investments.
yeah,
I don't see YouTube going away ever.
no, I think YouTube's just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's going to be how, yeah. Somebody just pointed out Vine. That's basically what TikTok is. It's Vine, but the fuck.
I know. Ricky needs
Now
to
my brain
calm
is just all
down.
over the place. What was it? Oh, like YouTube. So like as long as they keep evolving in the right direction, like they're the premieres, the live chat, the live streaming,
Yeah.
all that stuff. If they keep doing things like that with like good intentions, and it's not just how do we generate more ad revenue, or how do we, as soon as they start making it like you have to pay to watch somebody's YouTube channel, they're done. But
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
some people get sick of it, but it's
It would take a pretty significant entity and amount of money to create something that could take over over YouTube. Like, I've heard people talk about how Twitch could
yeah,
potentially, because they're backed by Amazon. Uh, so Twitch could potentially, like, they could make an upload service. They
yeah,
already have the revenue stream and supporting people that way, so it's possible. But there have been people who have tried to make video services. There was one, I forget what it was even called, but they had a ton of big YouTubers on it recently
mhm.
that they like had content that they like paid or helped them out for uploading early before it went onto YouTube, trying to get people to go
Just
to it, and then it just died.
yeah.
So it's like I don't see YouTube dying. The infrastructure's already there.
And that's the big thing. And as long as they keep evolving and making it better, and not trying to just see how they can make it into a money making thing, that's people will keep using it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think they're getting even better about things too. Being someone who's actually on YouTube using it all the time,
mm,
they're better now about, like, they're better. They have the creator in mind more now than they
mm.
did a year ago, 2 years ago.
And it's because they see it. Like they realize how much money they can make by just keeping the people making the content happy. You
Yep.
know, that's where they're making their money. So
I think that guy meant Vimeo, and Vimeo is just not going to happen. For
it,
some reason, man, when we were doing
it
lip
just
lords and
kind of was
stuff,
too hipster. I mean, I do like when Vimeo videos because they do have certain things that make it a little better. At
yeah,
least originally, they used to be better quality than YouTube, but that's obviously changed. Um, it's yeah, there's like small things like Vimeo. When you embed a video, you can do like a responsive size, so you don't have to mess around with the code. Where YouTube doesn't do that.
gotcha.
For me, when I'm posting something, like instead of me having to go in and like change the size of the
Oh,
video,
yeah, I get what
stuff
you're
like
saying.
that, it's small things that I'm like, God, I wish they'd just do that on YouTube. But
Yeah, Vimeo has its features, but it's just not good enough of a search engine to even remotely try to compete.
yeah,
Um, so I'm not sure what this crypto thing is. Theta is. Have you heard of Theta?
uh, I've heard of it, but I didn't look into it. So like the crypto stuff, that I don't know. I haven't got into that just because it's so like all of a sudden there was like 37 different crypto coins and stuff.
Oh,
Like
dude,
this
there's
isn't gonna work out.
hundreds,
Yeah,
hundreds and
yeah.
hundreds. You can make your own right now if you
And
wanted to.
that's why it doesn't make any sense to me. Like I was like, I'm not gonna mess with that. If it's it, you know, if there was like a standard currency, yeah, that'd be cool. But I don't know. There's these guys that just have insane money that they're just like, oh, I'm gonna start a currency. I'm gonna start this and that. And I'm pretty sure Vero is like a backed by like the like oil companies or something from like the Middle East or something.
Really?
I don't know. I
That's
thought I heard
crazy.
that somewhere. Like somebody told me that it was
Is
like a
that how
group.
it still exists and hasn't died yet?
Probably. I mean, they're fund. Yeah, the funding to make that go
Oh my
like
God.
is insane. So I don't know. It's it's kind of crazy when you look at BMX and it's like media functions on not very much money. But
Yeah,
then look at like the rest of the world and like where people like piss their money away. It's insane.
right, right. Okay, so back to BMX Media. I just had a thought and a good question, and maybe this would be a good place to end it. How how do we how do BMX media companies bring value to BMX parts companies moving forward? Because obviously the companies are making their own value by having their own social media networks and YouTube channels. Is it possible for the BMX media company to stay sustainable in 2020? Chris, you're hilarious. Thank you.
um, and that's kind of the $1 million question. I think like Mike talked about it when he was doing his interview with like Fudger. Like there's two ways to look at it, and it's you know it's either you're like supporting the media or you know it's a drain on their budget. You know, it's kind of you could look at it both ways. Um, Dan's comp is that's a whole different
Yeah,
story
different
right now.
conversation, but back to the media thing.
Yeah,
How do they bring
I
value?
think you know there's gonna have to be a balance, and I think they're starting to kind of figure that out. Where, like for example, today that Shadow and Sabrosa video from Poland that came out. Dig premiered that,
Okay.
and it's because Peter Adam filmed it as like Dig being like a partnership with them on that. So I
That
think content like that makes sense. You know, if you're in-house filmers producing a video and the brand is paying for it all and then giving it to a media outlet, to me that doesn't make sense. Maybe it makes sense to do that if you're a smaller brand and you want to get a bigger reach, yes. But in the long term, if you're trying to build your brand's, you know, channels up, obviously you can't be giving away everything.
right.
So I think, like you had said, like it's becoming more of a media company versus a, you know, a news outlet.
Yeah, they're a production company.
Yeah, production
They're
company. Yeah.
producing content for brands, and it's less about uh, the value that they bring as far as exposure and influence goes to
Mhm.
people, and more about the product that they can give them
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. So, you look at it, you know what those guys can do for content, and quite honestly, I'm kind of surprised to see it that there hasn't been like a props kind of style YouTube channel. But basically, it's like I can't imagine the money it would take to start something like this. But you basically get all the top filmers to all work together on this like channel, basically.
Yeah.
So they're all like basically producing content from all over the world for this one YouTube channel. And I could see that kind of becoming a thing. But the amount of money that it would take to make that happen is crazy.
Absolutely insane.
Plane tickets, hotels, per diems or whatever, it's to do one video. Like it would have to be a channel that can do, hundreds of thousands of views per video to make something like that work.
And I'm literally sitting here thinking, like, is it that one of these BMX riders with a YouTube channel just needs to wake up one day and realize, hey, if I make a my channel into a BMX media channel,
Mm-hmm.
it could possibly take over as the biggest BMX media
It
overnight.
could. It'd be a big risk. I mean,
It would be a huge risk.
The amount of money it would take to do it, but if you could pay like the top filmers like good money, turn it into like a salaried position or something, that'd be cool. It would work. It just would be a huge risk. It'd probably cost an insane amount of money to start, but yeah.
I don't know. I think you're right in saying that
the
YouTube
comments
is
too.
one. Yeah.
And like that's like some people said, like greed and profitability turns ugly and all that stuff, which it does. It can, especially when it becomes the ultimate goal of producing all this content. Like, hey, like if we're not profitable, how are we gonna make this work? Obviously people are gonna get salty if they don't feel like they're getting paid enough or whatever. But
Yeah.
once it becomes like, how do we make more money? Then it does get harder. But
I think that might be why it's a really good thing that none of these companies are owned by publishers anymore.
yeah,
They
I
aren't.
think that's the biggest thing that I've seen in the last couple of years that I think is huge, is that there are no more publishers that own the media brands. Everybody's kind of independent now, and they're all owned or ran by people that ride or have rode their whole life. So,
Except Vital.
oh no, Vital, no, Brad McDonald.
Oh, he still owns it?
Yeah, Brad does.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought someone else owned it now.
No, unless I had missed something, but I'm pretty sure that's still the case.
Oh, well then, okay.
So yeah, so it's still that situation. So and that yeah, that's kind of the good thing like that's going on right now, and I think it's just kind of taking it back to where it needs to be. Obviously, figuring out how to make the money work is going to be the hard part.
Yeah,
so.
And it'll be interesting to see that in the future. I think that's probably a good place to end the conversation.
Yeah.
We're an hour deep. Hopefully, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, they can leave them in the comments later. We'll probably do another one of these one day where I make Kurt talk about himself.
I don't like that. Worst thing ever.
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys all for tuning in. We got 17 people in here still. If you're new, you know what to do, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for another video. Thanks, Kurt. Good night.